Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is one of the most beautiful places on the earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com.
The reason I have Mr. John, and I want to know, John, tell me about the Hot Springs Village Employment Fund and how it relates to Mr. Derek here very shortly.
Well, the Village Employees Benefit Fund was set up in 1999 as a way for villagers to express their appreciation to the employees of the Property Owners Association for all the hard work they do throughout the year to assist us in maintaining the village. And the fund was actually founded because there was apparently in 1999 a very bad snow and ice storm here in the village. And the residents found out that the employees were coming out away from their homes where they were trying to stay warm and dry and everything else, and coming out and plowing the roads and giving people help. The police were being helpful, and the public utilities folks were doing what they needed to do above and beyond their regular shifts and things like that, even from different departments. And three men here in the village decided that it would be a good idea to recognize the effort of these folks, like giving a tip to a restaurant employee. If you've got a server that's done a good job for you, you'll leave a 15 or 20% tip or whatever. And we felt that that's an apt comparison to what the Village Employees Benefit Fund actually does. It offers the employees a tip, a thank you tip, an appreciation for the work that they've done throughout the year. So that's what we've done. The fund has been in operation now for 22 years, and we raise money from the residents here in the village. So it's funded entirely separate from the POA. We are not affiliated with the POA. So this is an extra benefit that the employees get. And it's important because more than half of the employees here in the village are minimum wage only, which in Arkansas right now, I think is $11 an hour. And I mean, we all know what's going on with inflation right now. Anything we can do for an employee by way of a tip, so to speak, is really important at this day and age.
Well, for anybody that thinks that's a past event, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, we interviewed Todd Knowles, who was with the streets department. And Todd made it very clear that 3 of his employees put their car in the ditch trying to come and clear the roads during the last snowstorm. So this is not a isolated event, and those needs will continue. I've even seen, and we'll come into this in a little more, I know how the Village Fund has worked for a lot of people who have lost their homes, have had just, life happens. There's fires, there's all kinds of stuff, and the Village Fund has been there to help them. But let's talk about what that means to Mr. Derek, who's been patiently waiting and listening. Derek, what are you going to do for us soon?
Well, we're just going to celebrate for everyone that's helped. And this is like an appreciation event. It's open to the public, but we're limiting tickets to 110 or something like that. But I sing Frank Sinatra for people that don't already know who I am, which is almost nobody unless they live where I live or, have hired me in the last 20 years over the United States. But this is I met Wendy at the 1940s ball. And I'm going to be. So, what was the question? I sing Frank Sinatra stuff. That's been my source of income and my living for the last 20 years. So,
and where are you living right now?
I'm in Broomfield, Colorado. It's in between Boulder and Denver. So, I'm native Coloradan for the last 48 years, and so I get to go check out where Wendy lives and where all you guys live. It looks beautiful out there. It's going to be a great time of year, and it sounds like the Dolce Vita is the restaurant we're going to be having the event at. It sounds like that's a place with some really good food and a nice space. So I think I think we'll be able to hold hands real nice. It's going to be a good fit. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
John,
Have you got your tickets yet? Are you guys going to it?
Well, I think we
Will
are.
you be there?
I've got signed
Cool.
up, but I was about to ask John, where do other people get a ticket if they want to get a ticket?
Well, I think the thing to do is I'm going to have to get a poster here with information on it. So if I leave for a second, is that okay, Dennis?
Of course.
Just being an informal interview. But yeah, tickets are available. And La Dolce Vita has an excellent reputation here in Hot Springs Village for great Italian food. And it's an intimate venue. So Frank Sinatra will be able to walk among the tables and get up close and personal with folks. And that'll be pretty interesting. I know we are going to be going, my wife and I, and we are looking forward to it. Let me get information about how to get tickets.
Sure. So Derek, it's maybe you would call it a dinner party event or a.
I mean, Randy, sounds a lot like the place I've been doing here in Colorado for the last 15 years, minus the last couple of years. Is a restaurant called Gaetano's here in Denver. That was, the old mob and speakeasy from the 1930s. And I've been doing that place for, since I can remember. So that's an Italian restaurant. That's my favorite little intimate gathering. So if it's anything like that, this show is going to be like right up my alley. It's my favorite amount of people, aside from playing with big orchestras in front of, thousands. This is going to be really fun. It'll be cool. I think they can get tickets on Eventbrite. You can search Old Blue Eyes or even La Dolce Vita. Isn't that right, John? You might have the link. Oh, wow. Look, it's me.
Wow. Who's that?
That's see me in the hat. The more I put on, the better I look.
And the people that don't know, the people that are listening, an evening with Old Blue Eyes is what I'm hearing it will be. Yeah. And tell us some of the things you'll do, Derek. I mean, what's it like?
I mean, it's just dress up in my finest suit and hat and kind of accidentally look like Frank and sometimes my voice accidentally sounds like him, but it's all the great tunes from Capital Years, and I just get to walk around cordless and kind of be part of the group, and Frank Sinatra is kind of walking around with you. I'm not as much of a impersonator as maybe you've seen other people, because I accidentally look a lot like him and sometimes sound like him. So if I just sing a song like I think maybe he would at the time, it's more of a tribute, which is nice at an event like this where we're kind of just paying tribute to people that have been helping out and everything. It's kind of half public, half charity, half just celebrating. And Wendy's so damn nice. When she came to the 1940s ball, I think we'd met there, and there was some other charitable thing that she was doing, and we met at another event, and so she asked me to come out when they moved out there. I think we missed each other some, so well, I'll just be walking around crooning, singing Frank tunes with everybody.
Great.
It's gonna be fun.
I know her through Rotary, is why I know Wendy, and we've had some technical difficulties today. Those of you that are watching know I'm not Randy Cantrell. Randy has had some troubles today, and it's no big deal. But
I'm just reading your name from the
yeah.
Sorry, Dennis.
I may not look like who I am. Yeah.
It's my first Zoom.
Exactly. But no, Derek, what I was going to get at is that, anytime there's a tribute or an impersonator, as you want to call it, some people might want to call it, there's always a window of material that you want to cover. For example, Elvis impersonators only cover a certain group of time or whatever. They may not say that they do, but you just noted it was the Capital Years. Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of the popular songs that from the albums that you or your parents might have had, all the Fly Me to the Moon and My Way in New York and Witchcraft and Someday When I'm Awfully Low and all those, just all the good classic songs. But I mean, just for some interesting trivia about Frank, evidently there were 3 years during the Capital Years where he didn't record. There were 3 days out of each year where he didn't record a new song or something like that. So there's thousands of songs that he was recording. And I've played at a couple of his old houses. One where he had the record player, the Valentino cutting machine in his living room, where he'd come home and cut records in his living room with Marilyn Monroe and, Dean, everybody out by the pool. And I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent because this isn't my normal thing.
No, that's exactly the
Zoom,
kind of
but-
thing we
No,
wanted to
that's
know.
exactly the kind of
And I was going to come back and say, it may not seem like there's a real reason here, but John Chapman's on KVRE, and he has the 40s at 4. And the reason that I thought this would be wonderful to have us all here together is because, John, you do know a little bit about trivia from that 40s period, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit. And, there's so many great entertainers that got their start in the big band era in the 1940s. And not many of them were able to carry that success into the late 40s and into the 50s or 60s. Frank Sinatra was one of them. And, the reputation that he established with the Bobby Soxers in 1942 and 1943 when he was singing with the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra, he realized that the female fans that he was appealing to were coming out to see him more than they were coming out to see the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra. Well, that's the point at which he decided that he needed to get out of the contract with Tommy Dorsey. Well, Tommy Dorsey was a hard-bitten businessman, and he was insisting that Frank honor the commitment to a contract until now. Maybe, Derek, you know something about what happened. I don't know exactly what happened. There's an intimation that it was maybe something like in the movie Godfather, with the horse's head in the bed kind of thing.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Maybe threats were made. I don't know. But anyway, Tommy Dorsey did eventually agree, for whatever reason, to let Frank Sinatra out of his contract so that he could go solo. And once he started going solo in 1943, I think it was, then the sky was the limit for him.
I thought you were going to say he made him an offer he couldn't refuse. So, so tell me more, John, just a little bit more. How did he transition into the 50s? And Derek, feel free to contribute at any time if you have something to add.
Yeah, I'm listening too, man. I just know all the words to the songs.
Well, the transition from the 40s to the 50s, I don't know how to really describe that. I don't know what it is that appeals to the public that buys records and listens to singers. Why some of the entertainers that were so big in the 40s failed to make a transition into more the popular music of the 50s. But his style, and I think forcing me to think about it, just my uneducated guess here would be that his broad appeal to the female audience probably was what kept him going. For the females, everybody, ladies would want to be with him, and for the guys, they would want to be like him. And that's why I think that, when I was a teenager in the 60s and starting to hear and understand who Frank Sinatra was, people were saying, to get a girl in the mood, you'd play some Frank Sinatra songs. So, maybe that was the appeal. Guys wanted to be like him, and girls wanted to be with him.
And Derek, I
got my wife.
Just because you look like him, I mean, why would the girls be attracted to you? I mean, come on, right?
Yeah, I never got a date until I started singing. And the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, I got a puppy and tricked my wife to move in with me. But I mean, we met at a jazz club after a gig. I was in the Get-Up and I saw her at the bar and went up and sang with the band. And that's where we met. Talked outside, and I said, if you kiss me, I'll follow you anywhere. And she did. And that's what happened.
So the puppy trick, did the puppy trick work?
It worked. Cute puppy. You have to have a cute puppy, though. I don't know if there's not a such thing, but I said, hey, can you watch my doggy while I go do this gig? And she was at my house when I came back. So,
Derek, I'll tell you
we've
what,
been
really
together
looking forward
since.
to it.
I mean, it worked.
John, tell me the dates of the where we can buy tickets, and then the dates. I guess the HSV tickets, I assume, and then what date is the concert?
Well, actually, the tickets are available at eventbrite.com. and that's spelled eventbrite.com. So eventbrite.com. And if you want to get more information about the concert, you can give Empire Financial Architects a call. They are the sponsor of the show. Their phone number locally here in Arkansas, 501-375-1701.
375-1071.
Yes.
And that's Miss Wendy, who's helping sponsor this wonderful lady. And we can't thank her enough for bringing Derek into town. And yeah. Derek, I'm going to let you pronounce your last name.
It's pronounced just like it sounds.
Yeah, I know. How is that?
It's Evil Sizer. Derek Evil Sizer.
Evil Sizer. Derek, it's been an absolute delight. John, thanks for joining us.
Hey, this has been a real pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. And Derek, it wasn't as bad as you thought, was it?
It's still pretty scary. I sure like singing to a bunch of people better, but you guys are real nice. Thanks a lot. John, nice talking to you. And Dennis, thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
For Hot Springs Village Inside Out, I'm Dennis Simpson with Mr. Derek and Mr. John, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Please subscribe to the podcast. You can do that by visiting our website, hsvinsideout.com, and tell a friend.